All right, we'll get things started. Got about 28 minutes to the start time of the race. I'm Tom Gerhardt. Pleasure to be here with you tonight. I knew Tom Regan. We were fellow broadcasters at one time. I helped for a couple of fund drives at Heartview. I was connected to Heartview for a long time through my father, and it's just an honor to be here tonight. And so great to see all of you out here tonight to honor Tom's memory and take part in this wonderful event. So thank you for being here. It's great to see all these green shirts with Tom's face on the front and yellow for the family. I want to acknowledge Patty and all the family here tonight. And we're also honored to take part and have this event, and thank you. So when I think of Tom Regan, three words just jump immediately to mind for me, and they're words that matter a lot to me, and those words are authentic, genuine, and kind. And I think those words set a foundation for the way Tom cared about people and his community, and probably a lot of you, and certainly a lot of others that can't be with us tonight. And I've been watching the stories, probably like all of you, on the TV and the newspaper, and thinking about Tom's legacy. And I started thinking about, it's not the legacy he left behind, I think it's the legacy he's leaving ahead. What we're all moving toward in the future. And I thought, what better way to move forward than with what we're doing tonight, literally one foot in front of the other, to honor Tom Regan and his family with Tom's Run. We wanted to tell you, if you don't know, a few things that Tom liked, including the Green Bay Packers. I have to check my notes. Hey. The Irish, fittingly then, the color green. His favorite music, Woodstock, we're told, maybe Creedence Clearwater Revival. Tonight, you ever seen the rain? He had favorite snacks, Tootsie Pops, peanut M&Ms, Nature Valley, regular M&Ms, is that right, Pat? Nature Valley granola, you name it. Crunchy oats, honey bars, and then Diet A&W root beer. You know, you gotta wash it down, but you feel a little good about the way it ends, right? So, what a great man. What a great legacy he left behind. And hopefully we'll all keep him in mind as we gather tonight, in our running and our walking, and just in our fellowship. Now I want to introduce Chaplain Dan Sweeney, who has tonight's invocation.
Creator God, we thank you for Tom's life on the face of this earth. We thank you that you sent him to us. And we thank you for the fact that he impacted so many lives over this community, Bismarck and Mandan. Not only did he impact his family, and his family will grow and carry his legacy on, but this city and these cities, Bismarck and Mandan, will continue to thrive and grow for the impact that Tom made on these communities. So we pray that you'll bless the runners this evening, the runners and walkers. Be with them. Let them carry Tom in their hearts. And we'll thank you for it. Amen.
We were joking ahead of time how I would introduce Kurt Snyder, but I'll probably just keep it a little low-key. Two leaders in the recovery community I want to introduce next, and I was struck, Dave, reading about Tom when you started RAD, that sometimes he was the only person to show up, and he would be there again and again and again. So, with some remarks, Kurt Snyder, the Executive Director of Heartview, and District Courts Judge David Reich, founder of RAD.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kurt Snyder. I'm the Executive Director of Heartview. I'm also a person in long-term recovery for my own journey with addiction to drugs and alcohol. Tom was my friend, and I can tell from all of you being here that Tom has touched you or inspired you in some way to come out and join us on this night and to be here with his family and all the friends. I think a lot about Tom. I think about someone who lived his life well lived. I think that he did things to make a difference. Car accident in Mandan. Young people died. It was horrible. Tom went out and raised money and spearheaded the effort to put moments of impact together. Tom was executive director for United Way for 15 years, raised millions of dollars for Bismarck, Mandan, and the nonprofits and their missions. Tom was a Heartview Foundation board of director for over 10 years. Tom started the Recovery Chronicles with Dakota Media Access so people could come and share their own story of recovery and their journey. Tom was an editor with City Magazine. Tom did so many things. Tom had a calling later in life to go back and become an addiction counselor. He went and got his master's, and he came to Heartview to train to become an addiction counselor. And Tom did something that was really amazing. It's hard to train to become an addiction counselor. It's hard work. But Tom not only did that, but at the same time, Tom raised $1 million for us to buy a building in downtown Bismarck. I got to tell you, nobody in the history of addiction counseling has done anything like that. Tom went on to become a certified grief counselor because Tom knew grief. Tom and his family, they lost their eldest daughter in a car accident, and Tom was inspired to help people through that dark journey. And Tom made a difference again in so much that he did. Winston Churchill once said, "We make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give." Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Dave Reich. I'm a district court judge. I started RAD in 2014, and that's why I'm here, I guess. I had the good fortune of meeting Tom Regan about 20 years ago or so when he was a director at United Way, and my wife Ann and I were honored to chair the first day of caring, something that's become an annual tradition. One of Tom's ideas, I think, that's raised a lot of money and has done a lot of benefit for our community. I run into Tom off and on after that through the years, but I didn't really get to know him until we started doing RAD back in 2014. When I started RAD, I reached out to different entities and people I thought would benefit from a running program for people in recovery. And of course, I reached out to the addiction centers, and Tom was my contact person with Heartview. And Tom came to the planning sessions, and lo and behold, that first chilly, sleeting day in April 2014 when we ran, Tom was the runner for Heart. And Tom ran with us almost all the time after that. He was the most faithful volunteer we had. And as Tom said, a lot of times in those early days, we ran at 6:30 Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And a lot of times it was just me and Tom that would show up. And I'm wondering, is this any good idea that we're doing this running program? And Tom, if you know Tom, he never got real excited about stuff like that. He just said, this is a good thing we're doing, and it doesn't matter how far we run or how fast we run. It just matters that we show up so that we're here when people who need us, we're here for them. And so we kept running, and it was just me and Tom a lot of times, but now we have 40 to 50 plus people showing up for RAD, and that probably wouldn't have happened without Tom encouraging me and encouraging everybody else to keep going. And I think we've got some RAD people here, so we're RAD family now, and Tom's like the patriarch of our family. And so if you're from RAD, can you just raise your hand and let people know you're here? Yeah. So Tom did that. And I don't know how many times Tom and I ran around this course that we're going to run tonight around Sertoma, and I don't know how many times we ran around the other course we run up at Tom O'Leary, or Tom O, as Tom would call it. He never called it Tom O'Leary, but everything was abbreviated for Tom. So, we ran a lot, and we ran together, and we did run very fast, so we had a lot of time to talk. And I got to know Tom pretty well. He was really an amazing person. You know, he had that great radio voice. You know, he was a gifted writer. He loved music. He loved books. We shared books. You know, he loved golf. He loved the Green Bay Packers. He'd show up with his Packer hat from October through April whenever it was chilly. And in fact, in honor of Tom, the first 5 male and female runners finishers tonight got Green Bay Packer hats for their finishing prize. So we can thank Tom for that. So Tom, we talked about a lot of things. I got to know Tom pretty well. He really became one of my very best friends. And but Tom loved all the things we talked about, but what he talked about most and what he loved most was his family. And I feel a little like, I don't know, it's like I know you all pretty well, even though I just met some of you tonight. And but Tom would just share, you know, Tom was just a truly kind and gentle soul, and he just took great pleasure in the simple things in life. And you know, he's so proud of his kids. You know, I know he was concerned about Ellen in her job when the pandemic hit, and he was so excited and proud to do adventures. He was so excited about going on adventures to Ireland and Europe with his sons and hiking the Grand Canyon, and he enjoyed walks with Patty and just drinking coffee and hanging out and doing things every year, like going to Buggies and Blues and going to Arts in the Park on their anniversary on the 3rd of July. And he took great pleasure in that, and he was just, you know, he was just a joy to be around. And I just want to thank you so much for sharing Tom with us, and he spent a lot of time with us, and he's really a part of our family too. And so thank you so much for sharing us and allowing us to remember and honor him tonight. I'd like to introduce Cheryl Perry from Sacred Pipe Resource Center to say a few words.
Mika kora chante washtan na pechuzapi hunko ontawi imachapi. My name is Cheryl Curie. I am with the Sacred Pipe Resource Center, and I want to thank the committee for giving me a couple words to say to honor Tom in his memory. I'm sure that there's a lot of people here that can speak so much more eloquently about Tom and their experiences with him, but I just wanted to share the Native perspective. I first met Tom way back in the 90s. He invited me to be a part of the United Way Diversity Committee, and throughout the years always supported my dream of starting a nonprofit that would serve the Native community here in Bismarck, Mandan, and Lincoln. And to see that dream become a reality was part of Tom's efforts and support. Throughout the years, he would always check in and support that dream. And I wanted to honor him and his family. Tom was culturally competent before I think it was even a word. And he was inclusive before it was cool to be inclusive. He had so much compassion in his heart. And I think that if everybody had just an ounce of Tom's compassion, we wouldn't have the conflicts that we have with Native and non-Native people in this part of the world. And so I want to thank him and honor him in a Native way. In our culture, which Tom appreciated, when we have memorials for people, we honor them with a blanket. And with this blanket, we say, we want to wipe the tears of this family. So we are giving this blanket to honor Tom, and searched far and wide, had this blanket made for him, because, and I think it's appropriate, this eagle on this sky background, because even though Tom is no longer with us, I see him as a leader. I see him flying high, supporting all of us. He'll continue to be with us that way. So I want to provide this wrap the family in this blanket to help wipe their tears. Do with what they will, but to also remember and to honor Tom today.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Cheryl.
She said, thanks for sharing him all these years. I said I had no choice.
Okay, you've all heard us talk about Tom, and so now this is Tom's family, Patty and Walt and Graham and Paige and Ellen and Alex. They're here, and now you can hear from them. So, Patty, you ready?
But thank you, that was amazing, amazing. I'm Patty Regan, Tom's wife of 40 years, and these are our children, Walton, Graham, Graham's drove Paige, sorry, Ellen, Regan, and Alex, her boyfriend. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to talk about tonight when I was asked if I could say something, and of course, you never know what kind of shape you're going to be in for something like this. So if there's occasional tears, I know you'll understand, because I know you all have them as well. I wanted to talk about the man that Tom was, and they've done a great job talking about him. They said things I didn't know they could possibly know that they did. Like our wedding anniversary, July 3rd, and we went to Art in the Park. When was that? Other than every vendor at Art in the Park, they all because we told them. You did. Yeah. And so I wanted to talk about who he is. He's a man who loved movies, who loved peanut M&Ms and Diet A&W root beer. He loved his family fiercely. He loved adventures with them and Saturday trips with them, whatever it was, going out to dinner, sitting in the backyard. He loved all of those things. He loved reading the Green Bay Packers, which you've heard plenty. That's why the t-shirts are green and yellow, by the way, in case you didn't notice that correlation there. And so no Viking fans are allowed. I took all. So there's so many things. So I want you all to shout out to me and to us the adjectives or the nouns that you know Tom to be. Just go ahead and say them as they come to you, because he's intelligent and he's funny and sometimes clueless, you know, like when we go to the mall, my daughter would say, don't leave Dad alone because he'll get lost and scared. Yeah, and I would say, well, he's a grown man, he can find his way back. No, he never had his phone turned on. It was just things like that. He's just a funny man, a great guy to live with. As you know, he loved music and he loved being at Woodstock. And I don't know if you know many people who are at Woodstock, but he was. And just a terrific kind of guy. So I wanted to say that, you know, there's a lot that's wrong in the world and in our community. There's people that are hungry. There's people that are fighting addictions, people that are struggling to pay their rent, all of those things. But there's also a lot that's right in our community. And part of that is because of people like Tom that fight the fight every single day, just tirelessly fight the fight, trying to make the world a better place. And to me, that makes him a superhero, and he should have had a cape. He would have loved walking around in a cape. Yeah, my wife made me this cape. I can just hear it. Yeah. He would love that. So I want you to think about that you too can be a superhero. Put your hands on your hips and put your head up high and just say, I'm gonna go out today and I'm gonna be a superhero. I'm gonna make a difference in somebody's life. Do that thinking about Tom, and even if you're not, do it for you. Be a superhero, make a big difference. And maybe that means opening the door for somebody, or you help somebody change a tire, or that's what one of my staff did today. And then he said, well, you know, I was on work time, so, you know, the guy gave me some money, do I have to give it to you? And I said, yes, you do. Yeah, so just make a difference in somebody's life if you can do that, even if it's a kind word or a listening ear. And in conclusion, I just want to say, you know, Muhammad Ali has a quote that said that service to others is the rent that we pay to take up space on this planet. So remember, service to others. Do it all of the time. If you can, do it some of the time. Do it a little bit. It fills you up inside and it'll make you feel fantastic. And then I wanted to comment on something Dan Sweeney said, that our family will be growing, so I'm reading. You see that hand snap up like that? Yeah, well, okay, so, okay. All right, so thank you very much for listening to us, and thanks for coming out to honor Tom.
It's Julie's turn, I think. Thanks, Patty. That was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. Thanks. I could probably repeat everything everybody said. I've known Tom also since United Way days, and even before that from Mandan days. I'm a Zach Meyer from Mandan, and we shared that. I had an unbelievably surprised joy of being down in the basement in the radio room and doing a radio interview just about a week before he became sick, and it was just fun down in there, and he shared everything. We talked about running, we talked about golf, we talked about Mandan, we talked about life, we talked about aging, and we talked about illness. It was amazing, it was beautiful. I'm sure you guys have heard an Irish toast maybe before, Tom? As all Irish toasts are, made out of love and beauty. Let's everybody make their hands in a heart shape and raise them high. This is for you, Tom. Here's one beautiful toast that is exactly you. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, the rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand.
Thank you, Julie. Scott Foley from Heartview, would you come up now and read the Serenity Prayer for us?
If everybody would like to just join in on the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen.